Hello, Jackie. I'm just going to wait for a few more minutes and see if anybody else comes into the chat room. Folks, if you have any questions, you make sure you go to the YouTube channel, and that's the only place that there's a chat. So you can watch live if you want on any device, but if you want to chat, you have to hop into the chat. So aerial experience, do you have any info how Tesla is going to manage the service on those markets where it does not have a store? Well, if you remember at the Model 3 Live a reveal event back at the end of March that they said that they're going to be doubling the amount of stores between now and when Model 3 comes out towards the end of next year. So we'll have to wait and see. Personally, I don't think they have enough stores and enough service centers. It's going to be a bit of a problem. There's quite a bit of a wait right now for people trying to get service on their cars. So it's just going to be made even worse when the Model 3 comes out. So I hope they fix that. Bruno, so the all glass roof will be standard on Model 3. Uh, I don't think it'll be standard. There's three options. Doug Field, who's the senior vice president of engineering at Tesla, said at the Model 3 reveal event in one of the test rides that they were going to offer three options: a metal roof, all glass roof, and a panoramic roof. My guess is if you look at Model S the way it is now, you can expect to see metal as the standard roof, glass will be the next option up, and panoramic will be the most expensive. That's my thinking on that. Remember, Tesla is a creature of habit. They kind of repeat themselves, Model S, Model X. I expect Model 3 to be the same way too. So could be wrong, but that's my thinking. You're welcome, aerial experience. Jeff, do you have any idea about the cellular connectivity of the Model 3? 100% betting they'll have it autopilot. Okay, so I think I've answered this before. The LTE connection in the car is part of the cost of the vehicle. Tesla has said that it'll be free for 7 years, but I don't think they're going to take it away because they need that data from the Autopilot system to learn from their systems for their self-learning systems. So it's kind of critical that it be in the car. So I don't think that they're going to take it away or you'll have to pay for it. I own a current Lincoln right now, and it has LTE included in the vehicle at no extra cost. There's nothing in the contract, buying or leasing of the vehicles that said that they're going to take it away. So I think it's there for life. Hello, everyone. If you got questions, go ahead and ask. I just ask that you do it nice and slow. There's going to be a lot of people in here. I'm thinking that'll want lots of questions answered. You probably saw the news today about the Supercharger announcement. I think it's important that you remember that supercharging up until now on the Model S and the Model X was a free option. It was included in the price of the vehicle. There's big margins on these cars; they can afford to include it. And Model 3, they said that they were going to decouple it from the vehicle. Well, going forward, they're actually going to decouple it from the vehicle entirely. So starting on January 1st, that all new cars will get 400 kilowatt of charging credits in your Tesla account. So as a Tesla owner, you can go to your My Tesla account and then look at your credit situation and see how many credits. There were some questions as well as whether those credits would be rolled over if you don't use them. I think kind of the way that it works with the credit system, and my thinking is that they will roll over if you don't use them. They're a credit system after all, and they don't expire. So that's my thoughts on that. I'm sure other people will ask, so I'll probably answer that a little bit later. Oh, hey, Jackie. What are your thoughts on Model 3 solar panels? Seems like the largest expanse, 50 miles a day. Okay. Yeah, there are other car manufacturers out there, namely Fisker and the Nissan Leaf, where they put some solar panels. In the case of the Fisker, it was the whole roof. In the Leaf, it was a small solar panel about that big, kind of up by the dash. My personal opinion is that they're not really powerful enough to really power to charge the battery pack on those vehicles. I think it would be more for powering incidentals, things like your cell phone or a small heater or something to that effect to you top up. But it's not enough to charge the whole battery. So personally, I think it's a little bit of a waste. But hey, Tesla likes to push the envelope, so most power to them. Solar panels, Jeff DeFreak also suspects solar panels will not be option at launch. Yeah, no. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I don't think it'll show up in the first version. I could be wrong, but look, they have to get this car out on time, and any features that they try to add to the vehicle that could potentially delay it, will be put off to the side for future. I mean, Elon said that in the past too. If any of you listen to the conference calls, he always says that. That they can't keep piling on features to delay the vehicle. That was the major problem with the Model X. It was delayed because they just kept adding feature after feature after feature. You can't do that on the Model 3. It's got to be out on time. So features that they need to add will have to wait for a future car. Hope that answers your question. Courier, do you know if the Cars Autopilot one can help the Cars Autopilot 2? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, all that data goes into the central database and the neural network system for learning. But eventually, Autopilot 2 will eventually take over and actually take the curve up to a higher level and really go from there. So yes, the data is important. It will be captured and put into the system, but it's there's got to be an end road for that eventually. Will there be hitch for the Model 3? You said Model X, but I'm assuming you're saying Model 3. Yes, Elon had said that there will be a hitch on the Model 3. It'll be an option. Aerial experience. I'm a little bit concerned about battery depletion over the years. Any thoughts on that? No, there's no issues with that. The batteries do degrade, but not as much as you think. The folks at Tesloop down in Los Angeles, who run a shuttle service between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, bought a Model S in July of 2015. They just reported they put over 200,000 miles on this vehicle, and they've only seen a 6% battery degradation. And they haven't even done the brakes on the car. So remember, these batteries are good for at least 15 years on these cars, and at which point we expect the battery to probably still retain of about a 75% charge rate, state of charge on that. So it's not an issue. Forget it. Put it out of your mind. Do you know when Tesla will be selling products in South America? Well, they are branching out. They just opened up, Malaysia and a few other places, Ireland, Spain. Patience. They will get to those other markets eventually. And they have big fish to fry right now. They really got this Model 3 out. So branching out will happen over the next 5 or 6 years. Okay, let's see here. Super Wagon Warrior. Do you think that after the Gigafactory that the Model X and X will be cheaper because of less expensive batteries? Yeah, well, that's an unknown at this point. We certainly know that eventually the new 2170 cell will be making it into the Model S and the Model X eventually. Of course, there'll be a cheaper cell to make. Whether they drop the price of the vehicle to reflect those cheaper costs, I don't know. Elon has said that the Model S and the Model X will be their technology leaders. They will be premium vehicles. So I think that they were still going to maintain those margins on those cars. So based on what they've said so far, don't expect the price to come down. It would be nice, but I don't think so. As it is, we're expecting a price increase around about the 20th of the month, $2,000 U.S. price increase. So if anybody's on the fence right now about ordering a Model S, I would suggest you do it very, very quickly, because you're just going to see another price increase soon. Let's see here. Any other questions? The Jeff Freak, any thoughts on the reveal part 3? You're just going to get various tidbits into the production. Yeah, basically that's what Elon does. He likes to tease. And yeah, he puts out little dribs and drabs and stuff. But the thing is, you have to remember, you can't reveal everything all at once. because you got to have some surprises. Everything that Tesla does is out of Apple's playbook. Little bit by little bit. As far as the Model 3 reveal, when I expect that to happen, I would say at the earliest will be spring. Probably, if I was a betting man, I would say probably around the 1-year anniversary of the first reveal of the Model 3 at the end of March. But Elon has said closer to production. So that could mean, summer as well. So we don't know. We'll have to pay attention. How does Autopilot deal with potholes? It doesn't right now. That is part of the learning curve that they have to get through, the edge cases. So, it's part of the vision system, Tesla Vision, and the new supercomputer they put into the car. So over time, Autopilot will get better and to deal with these things, but not at the moment. Hello from the UK. Hello from Canada. The Tiger. Will the performance version option of the P100D remain only available for the top version of the Tesla cars? So at the moment, it appears to be the case. Yes, the P100D is the top line car. Now, for those of you, before you ask, Elon has confirmed that the Model 3 will have a ludicrous option as well. We don't know battery sizes at this point. I would suspect, if I was a guessing person, somewhere in the vicinity of 70 kilowatt hour or 60 kilowatt hour, and maybe something between, say, 60 and maybe a 90. We don't know. We know the battery packs are a little bit smaller on the vehicle, but they've made up for that size difference with the newer, larger cell, which has almost 50% more capacity. So it wouldn't surprise me at all that the size of the battery packs end up being about the same size as they are on the Model S now in terms of capacity. I hope that answers your question. Do I have solar panels or a power wall? Well, I live in a townhome, so our square footage as far as the roof is concerned is a little bit small. It's also not situated ideally to be south-facing, so that's unfortunate. We're east-west. I love the idea of the solar panels or the new tiles that Solar City has come out with, or Tesla. But I still live in a relatively new house, so there's no. We're a few years away from getting a new roof put on, so I will certainly consider that when the time comes. Well, the best part about that, though, is that it's going to get cheaper over time. So. Okay, Jackie, another question. What do you think about Autopilot hardware version 2? I think it's excellent. I think Tesla's doing the right thing here in incorporating vision and elevating the radar on the front of the car to a primary sensor rather than just being a supplementary sensor. I think things will really play out once they really work on this new software. If those of you haven't seen it yet, I would really encourage you to go on YouTube and look up NVIDIA's Drive PX presentations to get an idea of what that computer in the car is capable of. You'll be blown away. So I think it's really going to take us to level 5. I really do believe that. But it's going to take some time. Software has to be refined. They're currently working on it now. They've already demonstrated that it works. But it's not the highways that are difficult. It's the edge cases, things like urban driving, slow roads, those kind of things. So that stuff's going to take some time. Anyways, I hope that answers your question, Jackie. What is your preferred interior color, synthetic versus leather? Well, I haven't seen the synthetic interior, the white one that's in the Model S and the Model X yet. The leather is really nice. Believe it or not, the textile seats, if some of you haven't seen it yet, the textile seats, they're not cloth. They're called textile. They're actually very nice, and I wouldn't have any quibbles about getting that on a car. That's actually very nice. Leather's nice, but like I said, I would if the cost was prohibitive, I would certainly go with the textile seats. They're very nice. Right now, you have to remember that the synthetic seats are only available in white, and even though they're stain resistant, they still get dirty very quickly. And my wife, unfortunately, has decided that that is not an option for us. So she likes the gray leather interior. So that's probably what we will do. Bigger cells means less cells, implying less energy output. Not necessarily. You have to remember, the 2170 cell is only 10% larger, but by volume, it's 46.6% larger. So they're definitely going to have some more capacity in those cells, energy capacity. How much, we don't know yet, but there's going to be some new chemistry involved on these cells. So even though the cell is a little bit larger, it doesn't necessarily mean the battery pack has to get that much larger. These cells are really going to take Tesla to new places. You watch. These cells are a big deal. Do you think there will be a buyable, unlockable lifetime fee? Sorry, I have to wear my reading glasses here. Do you think there will be a buyable, unlockable, lifetime free kilowatt option hour for the charging fee at the superchargers? The answer is no, because if you sign into your My Tesla account, if you're a reservation holder or an owner, you can log into your Tesla account. And I think it was about a month or so ago, there was a leak, not a leak, but there was a feature that was added to My Tesla account where it showed supercharger credits. It was quickly taken away. So that was the first indication that they were going to go to some kind of pay-per-use or a credit system. So that's where you're going to go and put in your credits, is on the Tesla website. You're welcome, Jackie. I hope that helps you. Okay, let's see here. What else can I answer? So Thomas, you say they produce the SX, the 3, and the Y. Sexy, I like that. In Fremont. Do they do production of the Tesla pickup, semi, and other locations? How much can they produce at Fremont? Well, in case you haven't noticed, the Fremont plant is in the current stages of being expanded. They're planning on almost doubling the size of the factory. So this is all, it's part for Model 3 production, but they have new vehicles coming. So I think for the short term, things will be done in Fremont. But over time, Tesla really does have to build factories in Asia and in Europe, because it doesn't make sense to build everything in California and ship it around the world. Other manufacturers don't do that. They have factories all over the world. Don't forget, there's also tax implications and import duties that affect that. So if you make them locally, like China is really bad. If you import a vehicle in China, the import duties on those cars are extremely high. So it makes sense to build a factory over there. So that's what they have to do. Let's see here. What else? Bayo, do you think that a max option Model 3 will more than double the price of the base model? Well, there's certainly a possibility for that. It's pretty easy to go and configure a Model S and pretty much double the price. Tesla being Tesla, maybe. I would certainly hope in my mind that the Model 3 cost option structure, or the cost on the options, would be more in line with the base price of the vehicle. But I think if you really want a good idea of what a fully optioned out Model 3 can cost, go look at a BMW 3 Series. Go price one out. Go to the BMW website and price it out. Again, this car is geared towards the entry-level luxury market. So that's BMW 3 Series, Audi 4 Series, Mercedes, those kind of cars. So if you go price one of those vehicles, I think you can get a pretty good idea of what you're looking at in terms of costs relative. Jeff the Gig, say here, the Gigafactory has recycling. Yes, that's not an often reported feature of the Gigafactory. They will have a full recycling facility inside the factory. Joran, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Do the cars come with a feature so it stops charging at 80% overnight to save the battery? Yes, absolutely. You can set the charge rate on the vehicle, on the dash, or through your app phone to whatever percentage you like, and it will stop charging there. No problem. Okay, let's see here. What else is here? MZs, do you think it's a good idea to order a second Model 3? Just sell the first one day straight after delivery and wait for the second. That's called speculation, and that was done quite a bit for Model S and Model X. If Tesla plays their cards right and production ramp runs up quite fast, I think the folks that are planning on doing that are going to be in for a surprise that they may not get some premium dollars for that. So I think if you're going to order a second car, I would be prepared, to buy the car and use it yourself, because to speculate on that is a dangerous game to be playing. So I hope he answers your question about that. Do what you want, but I'm just saying. Mac, has Tesla indicated how long the battery will last? Yes, JB Straubel has said that on many occasions they expect the batteries to have a useful life. Now, when Tesla says a useful life, they mean a battery that will retain a charge up to 75%. And he said on many occasions they expect these batteries last 15 to 20 years and still retain 75% of their charge. Hope that answers your question. Moge, is the Chevy Bolt a threat to Model 3 or just another nice car? Okay, my opinion of the Bolt is more EVs on the market is great. However, the Bolt is a smaller car. It's more, if you've seen the BMW i3, that's about the size of the car. It is not a competitor to Tesla Model 3 in the sense, the only thing it really has in common with a Model 3 is around about the same price, base price. So it's $37,500 in the US for a Bolt, $35,000 for a Model 3. Other than that, the way I look at the Bolt is that it's really a $17,000 car with a $20,000 battery pack in it, or a $17,000 battery pack. My math is off. I'm sorry about that. It's really an economy car that has a few tech features in it. So it's a different level. The Model 3 is really an entry-level luxury vehicle. So you have to think about Model 3 is that it's a direct competitor to the BMW 3 Series. That's what it is. That's what it's at. I hope Chevy sells a lot of these cars and really wakes them up to the fact that there's demand for this car. But this is GM, so I wouldn't hold my breath for too long. They certainly don't have plans to do 400,000 cars a year like Tesla does. They're calling for about 35,000. So we'll see. But I'm looking forward to test driving one, so we'll see. Jeff DeFreak, it says it's a Nissan Versa electrified made by GM. Well, it's more of a Sonic, really. But either way, you get the gist of it. Oh, your brother has an i3. Well, if you've driven an i3 and you see the physical size, that's basically what a Bolt is like. Do you know the charging rate of a Bolt? Yes, the Bolt has a level 2 charging plug built in. It is a J1772, and it takes, I think, anywhere from 6 to 7 kilowatt to charge. The fast charging option, on the other hand, is limited, I think, at 50 kilowatt hour, 50 kilowatt. So it's not supercharger levels, that's for sure. And you have to remember, in some markets, the fast charge on the Bolt is included. Like in Canada, we have to pay for delivery of the vehicle, but the high-speed charging option is built into the price of the car, whereas in the US, you get free delivery, but the fast charge option is optional in the car. It's $750. So they play around the options in the different markets. So keep that in mind too, as far as pricing is concerned. The other thing too about the Bolt is that they don't have anywhere near the same amount of options that Tesla will have on their cars. I think the high end, the Premier edition of the Bolt takes the price up to about $41,000 or $42,000. That's fully loaded, but it's not a lot of options. You get the leather trim, you get the fancy mirror, a couple other small things, but that's it. Model 3 will have a lot more option. You'll have a bigger battery options. You'll have full leather interior options, Autopilot, which the Bolt doesn't even have, a towing capability. Bolt doesn't have a towing capability. You have Supercharger access. You'll get 400 kilowatts of Supercharger credits in your account every year for the Model 3. From an aspect of the Model 3, you got a lot more going for that car than a Bolt does. So I hope that answered that question. My watch band color. Today, I have white. I also have a red one. Do you think, okay, hold on here, folks. Okay, Stephen, you say, do you think Elon is going back on his promise to free charging now and forever? Yes and no. Supercharging is, you have to remember, the Supercharger option was included with the Model S and the Model S, X and S, If you bought it, it was free for life. So for those vehicles, it's your grandfathered in. Don't worry about it. You're good to go. As of January 1st, though, they will decouple the cost of the supercharger out of the vehicle so that you get the credit option. So that will affect everybody that buys a new vehicle from Tesla, S, X, and 3 at that point. So it's the people that bought current cars or you take delivery before January, you're good to go. Don't worry about it. It's included for life. And it follows the car, not the owner. So if you sell the car in the future, that car still gets supercharging. Hope that answers your question. Roman, do you have any info about the larger trunk opening as Elon promised? Not directly, but Elon did tweet that they fixed the issue. Keep in mind, it's not the trunk itself that opens, it's the aperture, the opening. Believe that they've been able to make it a little wider and a little taller. Yeah, so that's that. That's what we know about that. You say, do we know when the date of the finished Model 3 will be shown? Elon has said repeatedly, closer to production. If I was a betting man, I'll say it again, I would think that the soonest we will probably see it would be closer to maybe the 1 year anniversary of the first reveal. So sometime late spring, early spring. But closer to production means they could show it as, maybe June, July timeframe, somewhere in there. If they show it sooner, then great. Okay. Let's see here. What else can we answer? Spencer, my co-worker got $15,000 for a returned Volkswagen in the Dieselgate lawsuit. She's a reservation holder like me. What do you suggest she get for a car between now and when her car is delivered in 2018? Well, that's a tough call. I would say if you're looking for some of that, go for a short-term lease. Go look at, it depends where you are. You didn't say where you are, whether in the US or not. I know there's some very good deals on the BMW i3 in the US. You can certainly look at that. You can go look at the Bolt. That's starting to get delivered. Keep in mind it'll go to the CARB states first, so California will get the lion's share of those vehicles. So you'll have to go take a look at that. That's, of course, if you're interested in the EV. There's also the Volt as well, the one with the V. That's a good car too, if you're interested in EV. If it's gasoline, then, well, take your pick. Lots of cars out there. Okay, let's go on here. Wow, it's already been 30 minutes. Okay. Well, we'll probably cut this off at about an hour, folks, okay? Okay, let's see here. What else? Let me see here. Master Sen, how many of the pre-ordered Model 3 cars are expected to be actually bought? I have no idea. Even Tesla doesn't know that yet. I think we'll probably see some fluctuations in the reservations once the car starts going in production and the online configurator goes open, and then we actually see the options pricing. Some people might get scared by that and decide to back out. However, I think that we will probably see, at least before that, another spike in reservations when they do the final reveal of the vehicle and people see what the car can really do. So we will see. Remember, these are reservations. You're not obligated to buy the vehicle in any shape, way, or form. So that may change. Let's see here. What else can I answer here? Bale, aside from the HUD and the steering wheel, do you think we have seen the complete interior? Will it be so minimalist? Okay, lots of thoughts on this one. I've said it many times in the past. My personal opinion, based on the hirings that Tesla has done internally, the kind of people that they've hired, hints from Elon Musk himself about the interior of the vehicle, specifically the control systems. I think you have to separate the interior of the vehicle from control systems, meaning that what the seats look like, what the dash maybe or maybe not look like, steering wheel, those kind of things. And I've said this before, Tesla is in a position now, because the Model 3 was designed from the ground up to be a self-driving vehicle in mind, that they have an opportunity here to design the interior and the control systems for a vehicle that makes sense for the next 8 or 9 years. So going to a minimalist interior is an indicator, a lot of ways, that you don't need a lot of controls. It also simplifies the manufacturing and keeps the cost down. So I know a lot of people are making a big deal about the simplistic interior of the car, but we haven't seen the final version of the car. Now, Tesla also has a history of showing prototypes where the outside of the car looks like what they're going to put in production, but the interiors change significantly. However, the Model 3 prototype that was shown, or the two prototypes, the black one and the silver one, had a minimalist interior, and the time between when they showed the prototypes and when it was pencils down in July of this year is not a lot of time to be fiddling around with the interior quite a bit. So my personal opinion, my expectations at this point, and I think that the expectations of most people should be, based on what we know and what they've shown, is to expect that interior to ship as it is, or as close as possible as what they've shown. However, the control systems of the vehicle, the steering wheel, and this possible heads-up display, and I don't want to call it a prediction, but I have said in the past that I believe that Tesla will do some kind of heads-up display, because they took away the instrument panel from in front of the driver, and that's where all the autopilot information has to go. So if you take that away, and the Tesla engineers have also said they're going to one screen on the car. So if you take away the instrument panel in front, where are you going to put the autopilot information? It doesn't make sense to put it on a center screen where you're distracted. And also the hirings that they've done internally. They hired the guy that was in charge of the Mission E interior, the Porsche Mission E interior with its three-dimensional display systems, and they hired the guy from Scully Motorcycle Helmets development of their heads-up display inside the. So what I'm trying to say here is I think they're going to do some kind of heads-up display, but do a next-generation augmented reality heads-up display where they will project the autopilot information at minimum on a small screen in front, or really go crazy and project it onto the windscreen. And this is what Elon has kind of hinted at when he said, wait until you see the interior of the car. It looks like a spaceship. So that's my thinking of that. All right, I know that was a long-winded answer, but I hope it answers your question. That's the most common question we get on all of our videos. It just goes on forever. Okay, let's move on to something else here. Will there be a winter package for us in the snow? I sure hope so. I think Tesla's pretty much shown that the cold weather package is an option on all their cars. I would expect that to be on the Model 3 as well. That's certainly one of the options on the top of my list. Okay. All right, let's see here. Moving down. Oh, Guardian Angel, that's a good question. Reservation RN 107 and 108. When is the starting orders for this? Okay, I can't answer your question as far as when the reservation orders are, but the 107 and 108 numbers, so far as what we've been able to find out, is the 107 indicates if you reserve the car in a Tesla store, and the 108 designates whether you ordered a Model 3 or put a reservation in online. That's what we've been able to glean at this point. That's all that number really means. The rest of the string numbers is just a unique serial number that identifies you. It doesn't mean anything as far as where you are in the order queue. Remember, these Model 3s are going to be made with preferential treatment. So SpaceX, Model S, or current Tesla employees, current Tesla owners get first dibs at these cars in the production, and they will do production for West Coast owners first, and then move east, and then move on to Europe and Asia. That's what they've said. I expect them to keep that promise. Hope that answers your question. Tom, you said here, do you think Model 3 will get an accessory towing hitch? Yes, Elon's confirmed that. I won't say any more about that. A towing hitch will be an option. What's the drag coefficient of a Model 3? I think it's been reported at 0.20 or 0.21, somewhere in there. It's the most aerodynamic production car you can buy on the market. It's one of the reasons they put the flat nose on it. You can't have a grill in there sucking up air and acting as an air dam. You have to have aerodynamics. Okay. Battery sizes, I've talked about this before. Like I said, I expect somewhere in the vicinity of 60, 75, 85, 90, somewhere in there. We might be surprised. Hope that answers your question. Jeff, you say, what's your estimate for Tesla producing the cars at volume? I think the first day deliveries almost happened by December. All indications show that Tesla is probably ahead of schedule. I would suspect they probably start building cars in earnest sometime maybe August. Don't know when they'll actually start deliveries, but they'll start building cars somewhere in that time frame. Now, when I say that, I mean production vehicles. They will do pre-production cars and beta test vehicles sometime in the spring once they have enough of the production line, welding lines set up in the factory, and they're currently in the process of doing that. So I hope that answers your question. Now, as far as the production ramp is concerned, I have no idea. By all accounts, it's going to be accelerated as fast as they can. Hope that answers your question. Let's see here. Let's see here. Any more? Oh, Martin asks, any more information on the P100D ludicrous Easter egg? No, but I found it interesting that Elon tweeted yesterday he was listening to Amish Paradise in his car. Maybe that's a hint. Don't know. Okay. Jay Wardell, when do you think we'll see a new set of prototype cars? I've done a video on this. If you go back on my channel and look back, I answered that question. Spring. Can you post your Patreon link? Oh, sure. Hold on. Okay, let's see if I can do this correctly here. There you go. Appreciate the support, by the way. Thank you. It helps. Every little bit helps. Bale, have you chatted with Tesla? Will you guys get access to product events? We are in touch with Tesla Press. Anytime there's a reveal or a call, we are on the list with those folks. We've asked very nicely to be invited to future events, and if we get invited, you guys, everybody will know. We would hope so. We really appreciate it if we got invited to, especially the Model 3 reveal event. That would be very nice. We would cover that. I think it would be a very big honor for us to be able to go to that. So we appreciate that. If anybody has any pull with Tesla, it would be really appreciated. So I hope so. I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that one. Okay, let's see. What else can we answer here? Okay, Gyro. I'm sorry if I can't pronounce your names properly, folks. I heard something about the issues with the motors in the Model S. Some should be replaced. Any comments about the motors for Model 3? Okay. Yes, there was quite a raft of problems with early motors on the Model S, and a lot of them were replaced. Something about not enough grease on some of the splines, and something about a 50% part. We heard stories about the internal spline being a little bit thin. Largely, these issues have all been worked out. Also happen to know that the Model 3 is a completely clean slate design from the ground up, so it will have new motors. The best part about all this for Model 3 is the fact that because they've been making a lot of engineering changes and fixes for these vehicles, that we're the beneficiaries of all those changes. So everything that they learn from failures out in the field get fixed in engineering. And it's an ongoing process. Remember, Tesla does not have model years for their cars. So as they make improvements on the vehicles, they go straight into manufacturing. They don't wait for another model year. And their service is very proactive. So I had a couple of friends that had didn't exhibit any problems with their vehicles, but they got an alert on the vehicle to bring it in for service because the car was doing predictive analysis and said that maybe the motor might fail, even though it didn't show any signs of that, and Tesla replaced it for free. So it also pays if you're looking at CPO vehicles as well. It really would help you if you looking at buying a used Model S to make sure you get the extended warranty. Parts are expensive on these high-end vehicles, so make sure you have a good warranty on the car. Hope that answers your question. Is there any information on how Tesla is fighting the franchise laws here in the United States? Well, so far it seems to be one by one. My personal opinion about this, other than the fact that these franchise laws are ridiculous, we don't have that in Canada. Any manufacturer is allowed to sell direct to anybody. Matter of fact, Mercedes even has a few company-owned stores up here. But by the most part, everybody does a franchise because that's the way it's kind of always been. My personal opinion about it is Tesla really needs to take it to the federal level and get it fixed there. But until that happens, they will keep fighting for another day. Hope that answers your question. Okay, Thomas, you say Elon said that the Model Y will have Falcon wing doors. Do you think they will produce a minivan vehicle without the Falcon wings? Okay. Yes, he has said in the past that Model Y, in a tweet that's since been deleted, by the way, that the Model Y would have Falcon wing doors. Or he insinuated that because he said Model 3 wasn't even out at the time. He was saying Model 3 and Model Y, one of them will have Falcon wing doors. Obviously, it would be the Model Y. I think since then, all the issues with the Falcon wing doors have probably led them to believe that maybe that's not very wise. So my personal opinion is that if we see a Model Y within the next 2 years, that it will not have Falcon wing doors. That's my opinion, but I could be wrong. What are your thoughts on the new Roadster? Well, you know what? For a little while there, all indications were that Tesla was not going to do another Roadster. But today, someone tweeted, or was it yesterday, to Elon asking him about, in reference to this Easter egg with the P100D, whether they were going to do a faster option. And he says, no, maximum plaid is reserved for the next generation Roadster. So it looks like Roadster's still on the books. But again, they have bigger fish to fry, so the Roadster is a future product. So looks like it's still probably going to happen. James Connolly, aluminium body. Thank you for pronouncing that correctly, by the way. It is aluminium, at least in countries outside the US. Okay, so all indications are that the prototypes have an internal structure of the vehicle that's largely, well, it's a mix of steel and aluminum. But the outer skins of the vehicle are all aluminum. There was a reporter, I think it was Motor Trend or one of those companies, that was looking at the Model 3 up close, and one of the reporters, sneaky guy, had a magnet in his pocket, and he pulled it out and touched it on various parts of the car, and he says he could not detect any attraction. So that leads me to believe that at this point, at least on the prototypes, may not make it to production, but the prototypes have aluminum body panels. Remember, Tesla makes a lot of cars out of aluminum, so they've got the cost structure down on this stuff. So it would not surprise me that Model 3 would end up being a mostly aluminum body without affecting the base cost of the car. But I could be wrong. You never know. All right, let's see here. Okay, do you think Elon's old work with supercapacitors will enter itself into Tesla cars? That's a good question. I know Fisker has recently announced with their new car that they were going to do a supercapacitor. Elon obviously is believing for the time being that lithium-ion batteries are the way because they've got the cost structure down where it's still cost-effective. But anything can change in the future. So we will see technological improvements on every aspect of electric vehicles going forward. So anything is up for change in the future. Okay. Let's see here. Martin, you say, any news about the snake charger? Well, other than the fact that it's real and it's going to happen because Elon said that they're going to be installing some of these on the Superchargers in time for their supposed demonstration of Autopilot Level 5 autonomy by the end of next year. And the only way they can do that is with an automated charger. So the snake charger is alive and well. We will see it sometime next year. Now, whether it goes to all the supercharging stations, we don't know, but it has to happen because of the fleet sharing system that they're going to put into place. If you're going to buy a Model 3 or a Model S and pay for the full autonomy suite and send it out so that you can earn money, the car needs to be able to charge because you're not there to plug it in. So the snake charger has to happen. There you go. Hope that answers your question. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so let's see here. Joshua, you say, I think the free gift will be something software level, maybe the first autonomous driving. My thoughts on that. Well, anything is possible. I think paint is the cheapest option to offer to reservation holders. That would be the something special, so to speak, because the material cost of a special paint color is relatively low in the grand scheme of things. And it lends itself to making say 100,000 cars with a unique color if you choose it. You're not obligated to choose the color, by the way. That's my personal thought on that. They could also do a badge, maybe give us a free gift. I don't know. I'm leaning towards paint. Paint makes the most sense to me. Hope that answers your question. Okay, hold on, I need a drink. Let's see here. How are we doing for time, folks? Another 10 minutes, okay? And I got to call it quits. Yeah. Thomas Reitzberg, maybe we asked before, do you think Model 3 owners will get free Supercharger credits as well? Yes. Yes, if you read the blog post, the changes to the Superchargers are coming as of January 1st. So that affects all Tesla vehicles. They are moving to a credit system. So yes, all Model 3 cars will have 400 kilowatts of supercharging credit per year. Now, some of you may be asking again, does it roll over on the next year if you don't use them? I believe that they will stay in your credit system because it is a credit. So if you get the 400 and you don't use it and you add more and you don't use it, it's not like they're going to expire. They should still there. So it should be cumulative. That's my thinking. I could be wrong, but that's my definition of what Tesla would do as far as a credit system, is that they would not expire. Okay, I got to move down the list here. I'm spending too much time. Here we go. The Jeff Freak. So in Tesla's Q3 financials, it seems like they had around 700 something thousand reservations. Obviously, the S and the X can't be no smart part of that number. Am I reading this right? That's interesting. They do account for a certain amount of reservations. Personally, I don't think they have 700,000 reservations. But they're not want to comment on that at this point. They've said that it's immaterial to them. So they did say that, but there might be more to that story than we're led to believe. Any chance? Okay, so Bail, any chance of the visible chauffeur door showing up on Model 3? No. This is a simpler car. All these little automated doodads they've put on the Model X are causing them all kinds of grief. The answer is no. You will have to push the button or the door handle on the side of the car to open. It will not have auto opening. Simpler car. Okay, let's see. As far as, okay, let's see here. Okay, Mr. Eisenhammer says, as far as I know, the part 2 of the Model 3 reveal should take place before the end of the year, or has anything's changed? Well, technically, the Autopilot 2.0 was part of the second part of the Model 3 reveal. Elon said that they will have a part 3, which was originally supposed to be part 2. He said many times that they expect that to be closer to production. So my expectation at this point is that it will not happen by the end of this year. Earliest guess would be spring, but probably closer to summertime when the car goes into production. That's my thinking. Let's see here. Stephen, Fred Lambert, yes, Mr. Electric, didn't have word on the 400 kilowatt hour on the Model 3, the official word. I would encourage everybody to go read the blog post on Tesla.com. I'll give you the post right now. You can go read it yourself. Whoops, I hid the chat by mistake. Sorry about that. Here's the blog post. Go read it. Okay. Who knows, you say. With the refresh hardware 40 times in the compute power, is the software more responsive? The browser in the car seems sluggish. Oh, you have to remember the Model S and the Model X have two primary computers. There's one that runs the instrument panel in front of you, and there's another computer that runs the main computer center stack on the side. One's a Tegra, an NVIDIA Tegra 2, and the other one's an NVIDIA Tegra 3. And the Autopilot computer, the one that you're referring to, the Drive PX computer with the Titan GPU, is a separate computer altogether. It has nothing to do with the control systems on the vehicle. It's strictly to run Tesla's vision system software. That's what that's for. So until they do an upgrade on the computer running in the center stack, things will be. But Elon did say towards December they expect to have a software upgrade in the system that will they'll have a better version of the browser in the car. Whether it will be faster or not, don't know. Okay, let's see here. What else here? Matthew Senko, I asked you at the last stream, but you missed it. Since you're a computer engineer, have you thought of doing a video on the computer hardware in the Tesla Roadster S, X, and 3? I would love to do something like that, but I would really want to find one that's taken apart, and I don't have access to that. There are, I have some links that show quite a bit of the internals of that computer, so I might do something that shows the computer and the internals. So thanks, Matt. You've given me an idea. So yeah, maybe I'll do something. Yeah, that's a good idea. So yeah, thanks for giving me that. That's a good idea. I'll do that. Cool. Okay, moving along here. Rich, how much after the Model 3 do you think the Model Y will be similar gap to S and X? I don't know. I think as far as Model Y is concerned, they really got to get Model 3 out the door and get through these, production numbers, 400,000. I think we're going to have to wait at least another year after the Model 3 comes out before we see any new cars from Tesla. They only have so many resources. Now, I do happen to know that the Model Y was at least designed in clay at the same time as the Model 3. But I think they kind of did an internal analysis and said, well, maybe we should do the sedan first and worry about the SUV later. I don't have any internal information on their thinking process. But if I was in Tesla's shoes and looking at the reservations that all came in and trying to move production up, I would be of the same mind too. Let's put that on the shelf for now and concentrate on what we need to do. That would be me. Okay. Rick Decker, do you really believe they'll change the front look of the Model 3 to match the S and the X? Well, a 50-50 chance. 50% says that it'll stay the way it is now. The other 50% says it'll look more like Model S and X. My opinion is I don't honestly care. The car looks great either way. So it could go either way, but it doesn't matter to me either way. I'm still going to buy it. Okay, moving along here. Oh, I'm sorry about the reflection of my glasses. It's just because I'm on my laptop screen. Okay. Rock, what are you personally most excited about when it comes to getting your Model 3? How about never visiting a bloody gas station again? That would be really good. And having a real car that's modern and doesn't harm the environment anyway. There's so many reasons. No, I can't put my finger on just one. It's everything. I believe in Tesla. I believe what they're doing. They're the most exciting car company to come along in a long time. Okay, Thunderbird. Any response from Bjorn Nyland's Model X door test where he was missing a sensor on the Falcon Wing door in the roof area? Not really. If I was to make a comment on that, I would say that Tesla probably did enough analysis to mitigate to see, how many people would actually put their fingers there, and decided that, well, probably not a lot, because anybody sitting in the car wouldn't necessarily close the door down on your head. You'd be sitting down. Yeah, anybody can stick their hands up, but I don't know. If there's I'm sure if Tesla gets enough reports of people pinching and cutting off fingers in that area, that they would make a change down the road. So, but obviously, with over 10,000 of these Model X's driving around, that it hasn't been a problem yet. So they're pretty responsive about that kind of stuff. So we'll see. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I got a chance for one more question, folk. I got to call it. It's been an hour now, so I got to call it quits. So let's see if we can get one more question in. I'm with you, Paul. I do like the Model 3 front end just the way it is right now, too. Hello from Ireland. Hello, Darren. Optimistic Pessimist. Good name. What's the Model Y? Model Y is the code name of the CUV, or the small SUV variant of the Model 3. Hope that answers your question. Ideal special color if it's offered? Well, it can't be signature red, because that was reserved for Model S and Model X. And it would certainly devalue, I think, in some ways, those cars if they were to do that, because obviously there's not going to be a signature series for the Model 3. I don't know, maybe some special red, something like that. I'm leaning towards silver or red. I haven't made up my mind yet, but that's what I'm thinking. Okay, folks, I think that's it for today. We've been on this for an hour now, so I have to call it quits. And make sure you follow us on Twitter at Model 3 Owners, and you can join our forum. We got lots of nice T-shirts on the forum there too, and we have our Patreon link. If you look at the chat a little bit higher, you can subscribe to that. And anyways, we'll talk to you next time. And thanks for watching this live stream. And keep the questions coming for next time. We'll probably do something in a couple of weeks. Oh, by the way, if any of you are in the Toronto area, we're having a Model 3 Owners Club inaugural meet on Wednesday. There's details on our website. There's a link right at the top of the website. If you go there, you'll be able to join in on Wednesday night and talk to myself and my co-host Ken Bacor, and have a good night of talking about all things Tesla. So anyways, thanks folks, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching the stream, okay? See ya.